All right, so inshallah, we can get started. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Welcome to Receiving Noor Weekly Quran Study. We are continuing to explore the Quran together in an interactive format, inshallah, with Dr. Yamina. Last week we talked about causes for ghafla, for being unaware and heedless. And this year we are going to, today we will continue to think about how we live our lives. And Dr. Yamina has the theme of the life of this world and adornments of this life to share with us today. And please join in the conversation as we reflect on a number of passages tonight. Without further delay, I turn to Dr. Yamina to lead us in tonight's session. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. So last time when we were considering some ayats, it's not obvious what the adornment that is repeated in the Quran refers to. So I thought we can have a clarifying session about that point, inshallah. So zina it means adornment, embellishment. It's from the root zayana, and it appears 46 times in the Quran as verb as well, and 19 times as the noun zina. And 3 of those 19 times are in Surah Al-Kahf. So I will focus on Surah Al-Kahf because last time it appeared the verse, the ayah I had mentioned, I had referred to, was in Surah Al-Kahf. But we can use, inshallah, the same reasoning, the same understanding to adorn the earth in order that we may test which of them has the best deeds. Now, just to give you an idea, it was brought to my attention recently. There's this interpretation in one in a tafsir, and the word adornment in that tafsir is translated in Surah Al-Kahf, is translated sometimes as adornment and sometimes as pomp and glitter. The pomp and glitter of the world. So there is this ayah 7, and the next ayah is ayah 28 of Surah Al-Kahf. In ayah 28, in this tafsir we are told and I'm not going to go into the detail, but the tafsir starts by saying, although these words have been addressed to the Prophet ﷺ, they are really meant for the chiefs of the Quraysh. And then we are told this and that, and then we are told this was meant to warn the chief of Quraysh. And when it comes to ayah 7, so that was in relation to Ayah 28. When it came to Ayah 7 and 8, we are told these two Ayahs, 7 and 8, have been directed to the disbelievers indirectly. So the ayat, we are told, are speaking to the disbelievers as if to say, you must understand it clearly that all the things that you see in the world and which allure you are a transitory adornment which has been arranged merely to test you. But it is a pity that you have been involved in the misunderstanding that all these things have been created to cater for your pleasure and enjoyment. That is why the only aim and object of life you have set before you is eat, drink, and be merry. As a result of this, you do not pay any attention to your true and real well-wisher. You must understand it well that these things have not been provided for pleasure, but are actually a means of testing you. You have been placed among them to see which of you is allured by this from the real aim of life, and which of you keeps steadfast in the worship of Allah, for which you have been sent to the world. All these things and means of pleasure shall come to an end on the day your examination is over, and nothing will remain on the earth because it will be turned into a bare plain. If you have anything you want to share at this stage, please do. If what I just shared now brings anything in, anything to comment about, please do.
Yamina Hocam, can we maybe reread the passage?
I am going to analyze it, because if to reread the passage, how?
I mean, the Quranic passage, I mean.
The Quranic passage?
Yes.
Yes, of course, inshallah. So the Quranic passage is, since what I read, the tafsir is on 7 and 8, I will read 7 and 8. 7 is the one that mentions zina for the first time in Surah Al-Kahf. Surely we have adorned the earth with attractive things in order that we may test which of them has the best deeds. And we shall reduce, this is Ayah 8 now, and we shall reduce all that is on it, meaning on earth, to barren dust. We have adorned the earth. Actually, it's we surely وَجَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً. Actually, literally, it's we made whatsoever is on the earth an adornment for it, so that we may try them as to which of them is most, it has the best deeds. Ayah 8, and we shall reduce all that is on it, on the earth, to barren dust. وَإِنَّا لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا صَعِيدًا جُرُزًا. So this is the ayah, and that was the two ayahs. And the interpretation, the explanation was that...
not your explanation. This is the...
This is an explanation that is out there, and actually I checked other explanations in older tafsirs, and some of them even brought it to the adornment, from adornment to nisa, to women being a fitna and all kinds of things.
Dr. Yamina, one thing that attracts my attention, in the verse, it says, we have made everything on earth a zenith for it. And then the next one saying we are going to just reduce it all to barren dust. I think I have read this before, and I always had a kind of a framework, of understanding it. But then when I read it now in a kind of a bit more emotional way, the second verse, the verse 8, really spoils verse 7 in some ways. Not spoils meaning like everything beautiful adorned on earth, and then it's reminding us it's gonna be all barren dust. Almost, I mean, and we know this, that everything is passing, but as if the verse is calling us to really feel that disappointment. If you see what I mean, like we are, by the way, on Surah 18. Those of you who just joined us, Surah 18, verse 7 and 8. So these are, I mean, like the fact that everything is passing, gonna be dust, and it says in a kind of matter of fact way, and then it raises the question: then why is it so attractive and adorned? But also at the same time, it's saying that there's a point behind it. Just pay attention. We adorn everything on earth. It's not random. It's not unintentional. There is adornment, but it can't be for the purpose of you hanging on to them, because it's going to be all barren dust. And then it immediately raises this question. I mean, it does raise the question if you just think about it, but I think emotionally it raises the question, so what do we do? I think I happen to read it with more kind of emotion today. Before it was a bit more like analysis.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you want to share anything on that, or if anybody else wants to jump in and share.
I actually, my intention is to first analyze what we were given as the explanation of this verse, because it represents the classical, often what we hear when this is the approach that we are used to. So I want to first analyze that and see where we are and what we want to do, and then inshallah we do what you are doing. Go back to the text directly and ask our questions and listen to what we are being told, rather than listening to what we've been taking for granted.
As a starting point, do you think it would be good to ask if anybody wants to share what is their starting point, like what they have heard or they're guessing they would be told about this kind of verse?
Sure. When you hear this, what comes to your mind? Yeah.
When you read these verses on Surah Kaf 18, 7 and 8, that says all that is on earth is made as an adornment to test us, and everything is going to be reduced to barren dust. When you read these two verses, what are some of the things that first come to your mind?
Especially number 7.
And especially number 7, everything, all the adornment on earth has been is a means for us to be tested. When you hear this, what are some of the common understandings that you find in yourselves or you have heard about these kind of verses? And I'm so happy to see Aliya here. We missed you last time, Aliya. So if you don't speak, Aliya is going to make you speak, inshallah.
Yeah, or listen to her speaking, so you better speak.
Anyone, if you would like to please share. And this isn't meant to be like right or wrong. We just want.
MashaAllah, we've got 11 today. So, MashaAllah, we learn from each other. So, Bismillah. What comes to your heart?
Okay, otherwise I'll just carry on, and please, if something comes to you, you don't have to force yourself, but please feel free to share. So this is after reading this kind of explanation, my analysis of this reasoning. So first, we are told that these verses 7 and 8, are directed towards the disbelievers. That's already puts me off I mean, to be frank, because I believe that the first audience is the believer, those, or at least those who are seeking guidance from the Quran, those who are reading and listening to the Quran. The disbelievers out there, they are not listening to it. Even when we are told about the disbelievers, it's for me to learn something. It's not for them, it's for me, even when it's about them. Second, we are told the adornment, the adorned things in the world are there, have been created to allure us. And then we are told that to understand, it says, understand that they are transitory, that they are temporary, adornment, created only to test you, okay, but you misunderstand that adornment is created to cater for your enjoyment. And you must understand they are not provided for your pleasure, but a means to test you. So according to this reasoning, things in the world are adorned to test us. They are transitory and created only to test us. Yet we misunderstand and think that they are to be enjoyed, and we end up failing the test. And it seems this is because they distract us from the real aim of life, which is to worship God. And so it seems that the adornment is created to entice us from worshiping God. It seems like it's either or. It's either the adornment or worship God. And so we have to choose. But according to what do we choose, it's not clear. Or it's not clear, let's say, the argument, the reasoning argues this is because the Quran says so. It's true that the ayah is saying the adornment, the adornment is to test you. So we have to take it at face value. But does it really mean that it's either or? Either you enjoy the adornment or you worship God. This is how it's presented. And why has God created the adornment? Is it created in vain? Just like it seems like a trap to lure us away from worshiping God. Astaghfirullah. So it seems, the way it is explained, it seems like, okay, there is adornment there and I enjoy it, but it was not for you to enjoy. Although the adornment is there, you have to worship God. I am totally confused at this. I can't find a way out of this dilemma. I mean, how does the author deduce that adornment is created only to allure us? This is, he says explicitly, it is created only to allure you. It is not, you say because it's transitory, but why? What is the connection between transience and everything is created only to allure us? What's the connection? It's not clear. And isn't everything transitory? Not only the beautiful and adorned, but the bad and the ugly and the painful is also transitory. So why is it particularly adornment? And then when I look at myself in life, I want to apply this in my life. In life, we find ourselves in the world, and the world is adorned. But it's not only the world outside is adorned. It's only we have the sense to appreciate the adornment. So it's not like the adornment is out there on its own. The whole test is because there is a connection between the adornment and human beings, we have been created with this fitra, with the sense to appreciate the adornment. And we do enjoy the adornment. We prefer something that is more adorned. That's how we are. So according to the above reasoning then, although we are created with this fitra, with the sense of appreciating the adornment, still it is created, we are told, to entice us from worshiping God, so we have to be careful. Subhanallah. So it's a kind of trap. There is adornment, and on top of that, you are created with the appreciation for the adornment, but you should not indulge, because otherwise you will be stuck there in that trap, and instead of worshiping God. So the whole thing is, we are told to be vigilant and not fall into the trap of adornment, and instead to worship God. So as if worshiping God from this perspective sounds like the opposite of appreciating adornment. And all this is going to be done, worshiping God, despite our attraction to the adornments of the world. So it makes the trap painful and like, what's going on here? And the answer that we are often given growing up is, those with strong faith will pass the test. But then what comes to my mind is, okay, but like, where did they get that strong faith from? What faith is this that theirs is strong and others is not? It seems like that the strong of faith are some lucky folk who happen to have the faith, the strong faith. And that doesn't sound so fair. I also want to have the strong faith. How about everyone? We have all strong faith. How do we proceed? What's the way to have this strong faith? There's no direct answer to the question. And there are so many issues that are taken for granted in this kind of approach. And also, it's not obvious that it's either worship God or worship the adornment, who God said we are the ones. So the adornment is not something happening on its own. It is the creation of God. That link is totally missing, and no one talks about it, as if the adornment is like just enticing us. But it is God who created it. Now, in Ayah 46 of the same, so the third time, in Ayah 8, Ayah 28, and Ayah 46 is the third time the word zina, adornment, appears in Surah Al-Kahf.
Dr. Yamina, there's a comment that was just posted a couple minutes ago.
Sure.
Can I share it?
Inshallah.
It says, actually, Huria, do you think you can say it yourself? Do you think you can unmute yourself and say it? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and read it then. She said, adornment is everything in this earth. Are we going to benefit from them in the sake of themselves, or are we going to know that they have a creator and give hamd to him? Or every feeling given to us can be zinat. Sometimes we are thinking that those feelings belong to us.
Yeah, inshallah. That's what we want to understand, inshallah. Because we want to connect the dots, because in this approach, this kind of approach, it seems like the adornment is there to entice us, but we have to, despite our attraction to appreciation for adornment, we have to turn our back to it and worship God despite that. Where is God in this? Isn't God the one who created the adornment? So we want to get there, inshallah. Yes, thank you.
Your main issue with this kind of approach that you mentioned is that it doesn't give any function to the fact that there is beauty, adornment, and then it goes away.
It's not only that, but it does not even give any substance to faith and to the meaning of worshiping God. It's totally devoid of meaning. It's taking for granted that we already believe in God. How do we know God? How do we believe in Him? And that we worship Him, and therefore we have nothing to do with the adornment. It doesn't have anything to stand. That's why it's so hard. That's why in this approach, even if it is totally based on taqlid, on imitative belief, and even if we have the best intention and very strong willpower, and we do everything that we are told, we follow everything, we don't know how to deal with it. Does not, at least this approach does not tell us how to deal with the creation and how to find God in the creator in His creation. That's what, and that's, inshallah, we'll go there. I will reconsider the text from the beginning, but also I want to, the same tafsir, so it used pomp and glitter, but when it came to ayah 46 is, we're told, in ayah 46, we're told, wealth and children are the adornment of the life of this world, but lasting good works have a better rewards with your Rabb, with your sustainer, and give better grounds for hope. So now the adornment refers to wealth and children. The translation now is not pomp and glitter, but adornment, which is the literal, the closest literal translation of the word. Why? Because you can't say that children are the pomp and glitter of the world. So you see, it does not fit here. Also, it's not obvious that it's either worship God or adornment. Is when the adornment refers to our own children. It's going to be weird. Not weird, but how do you say? How are we going to use the same reasoning and apply it, the reasoning I shared before, and apply it to this ayah? Your children have been created for you only, not to enjoy them, not to love them, but only to entice you and take you away from worship of God. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Subhanallah. So you see, that reasoning does not fit everywhere. And this is in the same surah. So now, if it is a test to love our children, what kind of test is it? Now, in ayah 7, we were told that adornment, everything is created with adornment as a test for us. Since wealth and children are part of the adornment, therefore they are part of the test. Makes sense, according to the ayah. But what kind of test is it? in that tafsir, we were not told anything, or what we were told didn't make sense. It doesn't even, it's full of contradiction in itself, and it's taking lots of things for granted. And according to that reasoning, the different ayat will contradict each other. So now we say, how do we get, what kind of test is it? How do we get through this test? And this is what we want to figure out, inshallah. And there is one thing we can be sure about, is that the result needs to be full of mercy, full of healing. Why? Because we are told that the Quran came as healing and mercy for us. It needs, the result of this understanding, of this test, needs to build our faith, our iman, and increase it, and ground it, and not just take it for granted. Because there is no faith in the beginning. Until we know God, we cannot have iman in him and worship him. So this, as a result of this test, and therefore as the result of the message in these ayat, our knowing God needs to increase. Our faith in him is going to be grounded, inshallah. And we need to be able to witness the reality of these messages and confirm their truth. As I always repeat, Shahada is the first thing to be a Muslim. We need to make Shahada. And Shahada is to witness. We have to observe this reality in the world, in our life. Not just repeat, even though it contradicts our fitra, our feeling. Everything is adorned, but you think they are for you to enjoy? Not at all. It's only to allure you away from worshiping God. So you need to leave them and worship God. Doesn't make sense to me. How am I going to, who is God? What does it mean to worship God? How am I going to fight this feeling, especially when the adornment is my own children? And the love of your children is given to you, especially for moms. Like, something is not quite fitting there. So inshallah, we want to ask questions, and we need, from the beginning, we have like the test is, it's going to be full of mercy, full of healing, ground our faith, make us closer to God, know him better, inshallah. And it is something that we can witness and confirm the truth. So what comes to my mind when I read these kinds of interpretations is that the following fundamental questions remain unanswered because they are often taken for granted. And that is, who is God? How did we come to know him and believe in him in the first place? What does it mean that we worship him? And worshiping includes knowing and loving him. And so if we don't know him, how can we believe in him or worship him? How do we know him except through his creation? And isn't the adornment part of his creation? And so we want to go back to this Quranic message, the message in these ayat. What does it really mean, inshallah? These kinds of interpretation also make me wonder if the adornment is a trap to tempt and entice us, then wouldn't that contradict divine mercy? We want to find more mercy in this, in the message of this ayat. This is what we're told in the Quran, is to bring you mercy. Even the Prophet ﷺ was sent as mercy, rahmatan lil alameen. But if it's a trap, it doesn't seem like mercy to me. It's just the opposite of mercy. And wouldn't it contradict our fitra, as I just explained? And so it makes me wonder, is this what the text is really saying? So let's consider again the three passages from Surah Al-Kahf. So in 7, we are told, surely we have made whatsoever is on the earth an adornment for it, in order that we may test which of them has the best of deeds. 28, we are told, and contain yourself in patience with those who invoke their Rabb morning and evening, desiring his face, and do not turn your eyes away from them, desiring the adornment of the life of this world, and do not pay heed to whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, because he follows his own whims and desires, and who has transgressed all bounds. And 46, wealth and children are the adornment of the life of this world, but lasting good works, have a better rewards with your sustainer and give better grounds for hope. So these three ayats are all from Surah Al-Kahf. And this Surah Al-Kahf, remember we did actually look at the 4 stories in Surah Al-Kahf a few months ago. The surah starts with praising of God for revealing the mighty book to the Prophet ﷺ. Alhamdulillahi alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu iwajan. We are told all praise is due to God, who sent down the scripture, the book, to his servant and made it unerringly straight. So we need to confirm the message of this ayah, because if it means what that tafsir means, I would say the first ayah of Surah Al-Kahf, I can't confirm it. I don't see what's so guiding and so straight and so free from any obscurity in its meaning, so clear. So inshallah, this is how it starts. Then we are told that God has created the world as a temporary abode in ayah 8, and to test humanity, has created everything with adornment in order to test us. And this ليبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا, and sometimes ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا, in order that we test which of you has the best deeds, is an expression repeated in the Quran. And so from this expression, we understand that the quality of the deeds is important, not the quantity. Primarily the quality. It has to be Hassan. Ahsanu amala is what we are looking for here. Ahsan, the best, the most beautiful. Hassan, good, beautiful. It means they need to be the outcome of Iman and Ihsan, the outcome of Ihsan, but Ihsan only comes to the extent of Iman, of faith. And so how do deeds with Ihsan, deeds that come from that mindfulness, that Iman, that presence with the divine, with God, living in the presence of God, means living in the presence of the reflection of the beautiful names of God. And so our deeds will start reflecting the beautiful names of God. Al-Asma al-Husna, the same root. Ahsanu amala, Asma al-Husna, Ihsan, all of them come from the same root, Hasana. So that's one thing we understand from the expression. What is important also in this ayah is the bala, لِنَبْلُوَكُمْ, to test you. The word bala, test, has 2 implications. It means it is related to knowledge. If you're going to be tested on something, it implies that you have to learn that the object of the test. You have to know it, to be acquainted with it. And the second is related to making, once you know it, then you know its implication, its consequences, its goodness and badness, if we can say, or its good and bad consequences. So this meaning is contained in the word bela. I don't know about the word test, but it's translated, the closest translation is test. But if you are being tested on something, it implies that you can't be tested on something if you don't know it and you don't know its uses. You don't know how to derive benefits, and that you can derive benefits or harms from it. So the bala itself is neither good nor bad. What matters are the consequences of how we deal with it. What we do with something is our bala. Either we benefit from it and it becomes positive, or we, what's the opposite of benefiting from it? We don't benefit from it, and then it becomes negative. Either the bala can be beneficial to us or it can be detrimental to us. It depends on what we do with it, with the object of the bala. Here, the object of the bala is the adornment, just to keep in mind. So depending on our attitude towards the adornment, meaning, depending on how we perceive its reality and how we approach it and use it, it's going to be beneficial or detrimental. So just because there is bala, it does not mean it is negative. I'm going with the literal meaning, literal analysis first, because the message cannot contradict the literal meaning of the ayah. So this implies that we're supposed to learn the nature and the purpose of adornment. We have to have knowledge of the adornment and of its possible benefits or harm. And so this requires mindfulness, because if we are in a state of ghafla, we don't even ask these questions. We just take it for granted. We find ourselves like a child. We see something pretty, the child will just run towards it and wants to pick it up. But now, as responsible adults and as audience of this divine guidance, it means if we are the audience of this divine guidance, it means we are mindful of our need for guidance, for help. We find ourselves, there is all these things in the world, but like, just a second, like, we don't have enough life to deal with all these things. We cannot just pursue our desires randomly like that. And that's when we feel the need for the guidance of the Quran. And we are told, just a second, yes, we created everything, adorned and pretty and embellished everything, but it's for your bala. Oh, I say it's for test. If I have a test, the first thing I do is go and study for the test. So I have to learn what this adornment is. What is the nature of this adornment? What is it created for? What is the purpose of all this? So in ghafla, we take things for granted and we are more likely to miss their purpose. Here, we want to go out of that state of ghafla and find out what the purpose of adornment is, inshallah. So viewed from this perspective, we realize that this bela, this trial, this test, is actually an opportunity like every test. If you have a test, it means there is an opportunity to learn something, to pass something, to get something. So here is the opportunity for us to fulfill the purpose of our creation. Because we are told that the purpose of our creation, the quality of our deeds, is directly related to the fact that everything is embellished and adorned. So, and this is important because we only find lasting joy and fulfillment when we fulfill the purpose of creation. So adornment is directly related to the purpose of our creation, or our purpose of creation. We are told we made whatsoever is on earth an adornment in order that we may test which has the best, who has the best deeds. So what is the inner aspect of adornment that we are supposed to find that is not in a state of ghafla, in a state of superficial perceiving, is not seen, that our attention is attracted to it and saying, there is something else, there is a bela in it, we are testing you with this. It means there is good and there is bad. It depends how you're going to use it.
Dr. Yamina, about this idea of test, I want to hear what other people have to say if you think that's appropriate, because when I hear the term test, normally I think of something already made, like either, like if I give a quiz in class, I say, okay, here's a question, here's your test. They don't have time to study. They just have to perform. And that's my way of testing if they did the readings, for instance. Or like, if somebody...
But just a second, but they already, you told them to read first. So yes, they already are supposed to have done some work. So you're only testing what you have.
Yeah, and also like if somebody is acting, let's say a friend of mine is acting strange, and then she says, well, I was testing if you're really genuinely my friend, so I wanted to see. So
but then we are, how do you say, limiting ourselves with the English world. But I already told you what bela means.
So we want to move away from this understanding of test that is there to kind of reveal what you have already inside. It's more a test in the sense of you will go through this and it will teach you something and it will make you grow if you're open to it. But if you are...
Yes, it will uncover something in you. It will help you in uncovering something, not only in you, but also in it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the object of bela.
Yeah. Yeah. The Quranic, just as you were talking, came to my mind that passage about, I think in Surah Baqarah, these two angels are sent down and they say that they teach them sihr, magic kind of thing to the people, but they say, don't be a disbeliever. This is a test. So I always thought it as that, this is something to confuse you, but I'm telling you, don't be confused because, it's a transparent test. But now, even those kind of instances, you will learn something through this. But you also have the capacity to take this and run away with this and then get lost. And then that's why the angel was saying, as they were teaching the magic, they were saying, don't be ungrateful disbeliever with this, which is a very kind of very, very specific use of bela because it's within a story. But this notion that test is something that is is a potential to bring out the potential in us, to make us learn something. I mean, you said this before, but it's clicking with me now that this is a major difference in the way in which we think about test. This is similar to Ibrahim alayhi salam being tested with his son. You know, again, it says it was a clear bala, and oftentimes we think of it that God wants us to test him, just see if he is really faithful or not. But actually, that bala is something that he grows with. That bala, like it's something just for what he has inside for it to be revealed, but it's more like through that challenge of being asked to sacrifice.
It's not also it is not like one instance event. It is the nature of thing. It says surely we made whatsoever is in the earth, on earth, an adornment in order لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ, or in other places لِنَبْلُوَكُمْ, in order to test them, to test you. So it's not like one event. No, this is the nature of the adornment.
And the testing here is about whether it is an opportunity, as you said, whether you...
It's a teaching. The test itself is a teaching. It's unrevealing. The more we pay attention to it, bearing in mind that it is a bala, the more we will see that it has more than one aspect to it. Because we need to we need to pay attention to learn. It is about knowledge. When you say bala, always you have to know about the object of bala.
And through that, being in that circumstance of being tested with this thing, we have the opportunity to grow and reveal something that we didn't know before. This is a very kind of very, very important, I think.
In the dictionary, when you look at bala, so it has two implications. It says learning the state or condition of the object of the bala, the adornment here, and becoming acquainted with what was unknown of it. Because if it's unknown, there's no bala. It's already there superficially, you can see it.
But I mean, if I were to read that...
And the second is related with making known, manifesting the goodness or the badness, I can't find a better word, of the what you learn, of what has been revealed to you. The implications of the unknown.
But we tend to think that, or I used to think that testing and making known is, I am being tested. I mean, whether I am good or bad becomes apparent. Whereas what you're saying is, when something is a test for me, it is an opportunity for me to grow. When I'm tested with something,
first, that the nature of that things unfolds. As it unfolds, it's going to prompt an attitude from me. My perception of it is going to change. It's going to, not change me. If I am willing to stay with it, accept its reality, it's going to transform something in me. And that, here it says, your deeds, the nature of your deeds is going to change. Even my perception of things is an inner deed. Our deed starts inwardly and then outwardly. Like my thoughts are part of my deeds, and my thoughts, my words, my feelings, my actions. And when you look at it from outside, actions and words look out, we can see them out there, but they reflect what the person thinks and feels. And what the person feels and thinks is how the person perceives the world and themselves. So they are interconnected. The world out there and inside are interconnected, because our perception forms and shapes who we are. Does it make sense?
Thank you.
So, Yamina, so the word bala, like, isn't it used like when you're using, when you are getting a precious metal and putting it in fire to reveal the inside of it? Would that be also one of the uses of the word bala? Like yabli al-hadid, the word yabli al-hadid or yabli al-dhahab, would that be part of it?
Maybe I have not reflected on that.
Yeah, I'll go back and check, because as I'm listening to both of you, like with this discussion, so like bala, it seems like it is, I don't know what is the English word for it, but when you are putting in like gold with impurities, like in fire, that fire sometimes, like, it tests the gold in a way, like if the gold is real, like if this is pure gold, like it comes out, or if it looked like gold and wasn't gold, then it will, it will show. So it's a chance for the metal that you have to become something really like pure and something really special. But also at the same time, it could, if it might not be like, it might not be that. So as the discussion, as you're both discussing, it seems to me like, this word ibtila is our, chances for transformation. And we either allow ourselves to go through this, like, so someone might say, oh no, I don't want to, like, this is too precious a metal with me, I'm not going to put it in fire. I don't want to like risk it. Like, I'd rather keep it the way it is with all of its impurities. Mm-hmm. Although, like, there is a chance if you put it in the fire, then it will be the purest and the most beautiful of forms. If you are willing to take that chance and do that. So so these opportunities are opportunities. I mean, I know the word fire is a difficult is a difficult mental image to think of, but the opportunity to change something you do every day with a lot of impurities into something that you do that keeps being more purified and more meaningful and thus transforming. That's, I don't know if there's one English word for bala, but like now it's like a whole phrase for it.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to actually, the aim was to focus more on adornment, on zina, the adornment here. What do we do with it? And the bala, it happens to appear here as well. So now we know that if there is a bala with this adornment, it means adornment is not only what it appears. It means there is something unknown that we don't know yet about it that we need to find out. So definitely from the word bala, we can imply this. We can deduce this meaning. And so we ask, what is this unknown aspect? What is this inner aspect of adornment that we're supposed to find so that our deeds, inshallah, will be the best and we pass the test, inshallah. And it is hinted at in ayah 28 when we are told, contain yourself in patience with those who invoke their sustainer morning and evening, desiring his face, and do not turn away from them, desiring the adornment of the life of this world. So there are these people who are always invoking their Rabb and they desire his face. And when you turn away from them, you find yourself desiring the adornment of this life. So the other face, the other aspect in Arabic, so wajh is important in Arabic. The face, generally, the face we can understand in every language, gives a person an identity. It also denotes a presence, that person's presence. In Arabic, orientation and direction also have the same root as wajh. From wajaha we have wajh, face, itijah, orientation, direction. Jiha is aspect as well. Min hadihi al-jiha, we say, from this aspect. So there are two wajh, two aspects. The aspects that look to us, let's call it adornment, because that's what we see. We see pretty things. And there is an inner aspect, and we know there is an inner aspect because it's this adornment is if it is the object of bala, it means there is something we don't know about it that we need to learn. And in ayah 28, we are told the other aspect is desiring the face of God, desiring his face, desiring they are paralleled here. The face of God. The other aspect is the face of God, we are told. And the face of God is wajh, and aspect is wajh as well. So the question is, how do we turn from adornment to the wajh, to the creator of the adornment? How do we turn from the adornment to the inner aspect of adornment, to the aspect that looks to the face of God, the creator of the adornment? Now, when I say creator of the adornment, I'm especially saying it because I want to emphasize the connection between these two aspects. They are not like unrelated. No, they are related, because when we look, I think what Huria had mentioned earlier, and in the tafsir that I shared in the beginning, it seems that there is an adornment and there is worshiping God. But this adornment in the ayah, God is saying we created the adornment. So the bala is that often we forget about the creator and we only see the adornment. And the bala, we are told it's a bala, it means remember that this adornment doesn't exist on its own. It's being created right now. It's being sustained right now. It means it has another aspect that looks to its creator. It wouldn't be there if it didn't have the other aspect. And that other aspect, it is true that we tend to ignore it, to forget it, to not see it. So it's good. We do need, or at least it's a need that we have to be reminded of this reality. There is no adornment without the creator of the adornment, without the source of the adornment. And this bala is to take us back to the source of the adornment. So it's not the adornment is bad, forget about it, worship God. No, the adornment is what takes us to the source of the adornment. That's why the adornment is made pretty, made desirable to us, not to entice us and trap us and deceive us and distract us from God. Hasha, why would God create something to distract us from himself? No, that's our own forgetting, our own ghafla, our own misunderstanding that distracts us. In fact, the creation itself is made beautiful. We are made to appreciate it in order to seek its source, the creator. So we want to know how to turn from the adornment to the creator of the adornment, from the adornment to the face of God. And let's consider, for instance, in ayah 79 of Surah Al-An'am, Surah 6, we are told, Inni wajjahtu wajhi. You can see here, wajjahtu wajhi. I have directed my face to him, to God, الذي, to him who has created the heavens and the earth, as one of pure faith, and I'm not of those who commit shirk. So in order not to be a mushrik, we have to remain focused on the creator of things instead of the things themselves. Why? Because he is the creator. He is the source of everything we need, not the things themselves. So we need to remain mindful. This means that we need to remember that God is the source of all the goodness that we long for, that we need, and not the created things, because it seems like the adornment is fulfilling our needs. Not at all. When we stop and ask the question, it's not. Whoever is creating it is the one who is fulfilling our needs by means of the adornment. So if we apply these principles to the adornment is an ayah to its creator, to the name of the one who creates it with beauty. And with this awareness, with this knowing, and remember, Bala is about getting the knowledge of the situation, the unknown, it's about revealing the unknown about the situation. With this knowledge, with this awareness, we appreciate adornment now. We're grateful for it to our Rabb. We're not grateful to the adornment, but we're grateful for the adornment. That's how we can know our Rabb. There is no way I know who my Rabb is, who the creator is, except through his creation. And if I did not appreciate his creation, I would not appreciate the creator. And if the creation did not display beautiful qualities, I would not know about the qualities of God, his beautiful names. So we appreciate the adornment, and we are grateful for the adornment to our Rabb. And so now we don't remain stuck into the adornment itself. So the problem was when in ghafla, we forget about there is Bala, we only see the adornment and we don't see the aspect that looks to it's being created, therefore it has a creator. And it seems like the joy and the benefits we get through the adornment, when in ghafla, it seems like the source is the adornment. And we are taught in these passages that no, think about it, the adornment is being created, it can't help you in any way. You like it, be grateful for it to the creator, to your Rabb. And as a result, we don't worship the adornment, which is shirk, as we are told in ayah 79. Shirk because we're stuck in the things themselves, but we start worshiping the creator of the adornment, our merciful, our generous, our beauteous, the one who creates everything, embellishes everything, creates everything beautifully, who gifts us with these beautiful gifts, with this adornment, in order that we know him as the adorner, as the beauteous one who creates with mercy, with generosity, with beauty. So in this way, this is how we are supposed to find the face of God in the adornment and in everything, actually. As we are told in, so how do we find the face of God in the adornment? The answer is in ayah 8. After 7 says we created everything with adornment, and then in order to make bala to you, to make it as a bala to you. In Ayah 8, we are told, and we shall reduce all that is on it, all the adornment will be transformed into barren dust. So because these adornment are perishing, are transitory, they don't last, and therefore they witness that they are not the source of the benefits we derived from them. If they were lasting, we would never, even if they told us there is a creator, that we would have no means to witness the creator, to say, yes, true, it can't be, this adornment itself is not the source of what I'm appreciating. But the fact that everything is passing is a very good witness. The passing itself is a witness, and it is an opportunity for me to witness that they are not the source of the benefits we derive from them. They, through their passing, they indicate the truth source. They indicate their creator, their sustainer. They function as ayat, as signs to the enduring one. They come, they show beautiful attributes, and then they pass away. And in that passing, they are telling us all those attributes, those beautiful qualities and benefits, they were not from us. We were only means, we were only like mirrors reflecting something that doesn't belong to us. And that's why in Ayah 46, when we are told that wealth and children are the adornment of this life, before Ayah 46, in Ayah 45, again, we are told, set forth for them a parable of the life of this world. It is like water which we sent down from the sky, then it mixes with the vegetation on the earth, then it becomes chaff scattered by the wind, and God is capable of all things. How do I know God is capable of all things? Because I look around me and everything it says is like vegetation that grows, is beautiful, and then it dries and dies and becomes dust. So is it with everything that is created. Everything that lives on earth is passing. And then we are told wealth and children are the adornment of the life of this world. Children, they grow, and even as grown up, they die, and even if we don't witness that death, we live. So in any case, as far as we're concerned, everything is transient and passing, and nothing is permanent. Everything is impermanent. And then we are told, but lasting good works. You see how we are told everything is passing, and then lasting good words. You can see that whoever is speaking in 45 and 46, it knows us. We're reminded of the transience of the world, and that we need to seek lastingness with the enduring one. And if we want to find enduringness, if we can say that, we can find it only in connection and in relation to him. وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتُ خَيْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ ثَوَابًا وَخَيْرُ أَمَلًا. So lasting good works have a better rewards with your sustainer. So everything can only have an aspect of lastingness when it is connected to our Rabb. So from this, is loving the adornment, in this case our children, now the adornment became wrong? Shouldn't we love our children? Does loving our children distracts us from worshiping God, as the tafsir was suggesting? We're saying it is only created to entice you, to allure you. It is not created for you to enjoy. but you forget, and you, instead of worshiping God, you enjoy the adornment. The adornment is our own children. Does it mean that loving our children distracts us from worshiping God? Is it wrong? It depends on our attitude. Now it's clear. Now that we are aware of the two aspects, now the bala, now we know what the bala is. The bala is that there are two aspects, because there can't be bala if there is only one aspect that everyone knows. Then what are we going to be tested on? You are not tested on something you know. It has to be something needs to be revealed. And now we know that there is what we see, and there is the aspect that looks to the Creator. These things that you see, it is being created now. It is an ayah. It reflects the attributes of its creator, not its own. It doesn't have an attribute of its own. It cannot create anything. It is being sustained and created. So it depends on our attitude. It depends on how we relate to the world, and therefore how we relate to our children. If we relate to things independently of their maker, if we are oblivious of our Rabb, then we are in a state of shirk, whether it's our children or anything else, or wealth or anything. And everything we care about becomes potential idol. However, if we are mindful of that inner aspect of things, that aspect of things that looks to the Rabb, to the Creator, it means at the same time we are becoming aware of our ubudiyah, of that aspect of us that looks, we are becoming aware of our dependence on our Rabb, let's say, because they go together. As we are aware of how things are dependent on their Creator, inwardly, we also become aware of our dependence on our Rabb. Then we can recognize how everything is from Him, including the love we feel for our children, the love we feel for our beloved ones, and everyone and everything we care about. We may care about our wealth, we may be very grateful for it, but we are grateful for it, not to it, in this second attitude, because we know it is from Him, it is an adornment, it is a gift, it is precious, it is valuable. If it were not valuable, I would not be grateful. I would not find God. I would not know God with His beautiful names. Then, when I recognize that the love in us, for instance, the love for the adornment for our children, is also from Him, and it makes Him known, then that love and that care within us, as well as the object of the love out there in the world, start speaking to us. They speak to us about our Rabb. They speak through their beauty, through the adornment, and also through their dying, through their transience, through their impermanence. And we start hearing their glorifying God with His beautiful names. And we start taking part in that tasbih, in that glorifying. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. It means what I see here, all this love is not only from this thing, it is from you, and this gift is from you as well, and all this is an ayah from you, making you are making yourself known to me, to us. We start seeing the face of God wherever we turn, as we are told in the Quran, and we realize that His face is so beautiful and so satisfying to our heart and our ruh, our soul, that because our ruh yearns for lastingness, that we start seeking His face in everything. We are told ibtigha'a wajhi rabbih al-a'la, remember in Surah Al-Layl, I think we did study Surah Al-Layl together, when we are told, so the one who desires on, no, let me start for a little bit. It talks about إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى, desiring only the face of his Rabb, the Most High. That's why in the prayer, in the Salat, we say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. But starting from few ayats before, we are told the God conscious, al-atqa, will be removed far from it. He who spends his possession so that he may grow in purity. الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى, not as a payment for favor received, but only desiring the face of his Rabb, the Most High, and he shall certainly be pleased. Only when we seek the face of our Rabb, we will be we will have read we will be well pleased. And of course, we know in the Quran, we are told in Surah Al-Baqarah, أينما تولوا فثم وجه الله. Whenever you turn, there is the face of God. And that failing to see or to perceive the face of God leads to shirk. This is a repeated also theme in the Quran. Either you see the face of God, or if you don't, then that leads to shirk. We're also given an important cue to finding the face of God. Everything is perishing except that face. In Surah Al-Qasas 28, ayah 88, we're told, do not call upon another God with God. There is no God except him. Everything is bound to perish except his face. So this is important as well. Like the perishing that we have in Surah Al-Kahf as well is what reminds us that this can't be the face of God. The face of God is something that does not perish. So find the unperishing aspect of things in everything. That's the aspect that looks to God, to his everlasting, eternal, beautiful names, that looks to Akhirah, therefore. In Surah Al-Rahman, Surah 55, ayah 26, 27, we are told, and all that dwells upon the earth is perishing, but forever will remain the face of your Rabb of majesty and glory. كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. So it means his face is everywhere and at all times, because it's beyond space and time. It's everywhere. Wherever you turn, whenever you turn, wherever you turn, there is the face of God. And at the same time, everything else perishes. Anything that perishes, it can't be the face of God. Look for what does not perishes. It is the meaning of things, the messages, the meaning they bring to us about their creators, that does not perish. So it could be, the ayah could have said, everything shall perish except God himself. That would be true, right? However, it does not say that. The ayah says, except his face, the face of God. And this is also a sign. And what does it indicate? If the ayah, if the verse had said, not only this verse, there are more than one, these verses had said, or if it was said in these verses, everything perishes except God, it would be correct, but it would be a conclusion that I can in no way witness in this world, because I can't see God, but I can see his face. So we need to witness that everything perishes except the face of God, and that is witnessable, let's say. And remember, again and again, this is so important. In Islam, the first thing that defines us as Muslim is that the shahada, or the belief based on shahada. So all our belief, actually our iman, needs to be based on witnessing, on shahada. And witnessing requires observation and confirmation. So again, I repeat, because it's repeated in the Quran, when it's important, it's repeated again and again in the Quran. It means we need it. So is it possible to confirm the truth that we have not, of what we have not witnessed in the world? Is it possible for us to confirm the truth of something that we cannot or we have not witnessed in the world? Obviously, it's not possible. So when we start seeing the world in the way we are taught in the Quran, meaning that everything is an ayah. If everything is an ayah, it means things have a superficial aspect that we see first thing without any tarbiyah, without knowing anything. That's for instance, we see adornment. And there is another aspect, the ayah aspect, that looks to the creator, that looks to the face of the creator, that bears messages. It bears messages from God, from the unseen. And it is when we realize how things are ayah, when we start seeing that side, that face of things, that aspect of things, that we will realize how they are making tasbih of their Rabb, how he is making himself known to us with his beautiful names through his creation. And that aspect of things indicates those messages and look to the beautiful names of God and therefore to Akhirah. And that aspect of things that look to God, to the face of God, and that remains with us once we get it, once we perceive it, it remains with us in our hearts, in our ruh, even when things go and perish, it remains with us. It is the mirror to Wajh Allah, to the face of God. It reflects, it mirrors the face of God to those who are willing to hear and see, as we are told in the Quran. So from one aspect, through the apparent bala, the beautiful names of God are reflected in a way that we can interact with them. From another aspect, through the bala, we're given the opportunity to uncover our ubudiyah, our vulnerability, our neediness, and to get to know our Rabb and witness his beautiful names of God. And again, I'd like to underline that what makes the test, the bala, beautiful and beneficial is not its content, but how we deal with it, how we respond to it. So this means how we see and perceive the world, the creation, in this case, the zina, the adornment of the life of this world, matters, and it matters a lot. Do we see ayat indicating messages from the unseen and arriving carrying to us, I was going to say arriving with guidance, but like it's a little bit strange. They are carrying guidance from our Rabb, or do we see the adornment as adornment, beautiful things that we like? So we need to see that the adornment is like a mirror to the beautiful names of God. That's what makes it beautiful. It is not beautiful in itself, of itself. if we are stuck in the things themselves, and if we enjoy them and like them without wondering where they come from and how they're related to us, and how come we like them, for instance, and how come they are pretty, and then how come suddenly they disappear, they start wilting and leaving and getting old and ugly and leaving. If we don't ask these questions, then we will just like the adornment and then be sad and it's being impermanent and perishing, and that's it, and carry on seeking for a newer adornment. Then we fail the test, and then when we are in that state, we are more likely to fall into shirk. We are more likely to not be worshiping God, even when we are doing the salat and everything. We don't know God. We don't know. We need to know God through his creation. But if there is a gap between the two, if there is no bridge between the two, no connection between the two, then we could be not Muslims, but we could be born in any religion and worshiping any God. So that's not God as he describes himself in the Quran. We would not know him, at least. We wouldn't be denying him, but we wouldn't know him. And our love wouldn't be for him, but for the things themselves. That's where shirk starts creeping in. So the conclusion is, when we read, surely, ayah 7 of Surah Al-Kahf, surely we made whatsoever is on earth an adornment for it, in order that we may test which of them has the best deeds. We understand that the purpose of adorning the creation and making it attractive to us is connected with the purpose of our creation and how the quality of how we live in our life, and therefore the quality of our deeds. And so, like everything else, adornment of the earth is created with meaning and purpose. Remember, we told in the Quran, رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا, O our God, our Rabb, you have not created any of these without meaning and purpose. We're also told we have not, God tells us in Surah 38, Ayah 27, for instance, we have not created heaven and earth and everything in between them without meaning and purpose. That is the dhann, the conjecture, the delusion of those who disbelieve. Can you see? ذَلِكَ ظَنُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Because if we can't see the purpose and meaning of everything, if we don't see everything if we don't find if we're not aware of the purpose of their creation, the purpose of the creation of the adornment, then it seems to us like adornment is just there for nothing, or it's there to trap us and distract us from worshipping God. Hasha, astaghfirullah. So we understand that the world has been adorned and made beautiful for a purpose, not just for people to enjoy it aimlessly, true, but it's not like we were told the adornment is not for you to enjoy. No, it is not for us to enjoy aimlessly. It is for us to enjoy in the name of its maker and its creator. Because without that enjoyment and appreciation, there will be no gratitude and no knowing God, and no path towards knowing God and worshiping and believing in him and worshiping him.
Yamina.
So yes, it is not just for people to enjoy aimlessly without purpose. it is made to enjoy with purpose. It is created with purpose. Like everything else, adornment and beautiful things are ayat, they are signs. Signs that make their creator known with his beautiful names. So in order that we may test which of them has the best of deeds, explains to us what it means that everything is an ayah from our perspective. Because I find this expression fascinating, because we keep saying everything is an ayah, but I don't know, I find like part of us could say, okay, well, everything could be an ayah, but why should we care that everything is an ayah? Why should we care that adornment is an ayah? What is it to do with me? And this ayah gives us the answer. It's saying it is a bala for you. So it's a bala for us, for me. It means it is a means. It is an opportunity for us to fulfill our potential. It's not only telling us about the purpose of the creation out there, but the purpose of the creation out there reveals the purpose of our own creation. It gives me, it unfolds within us our potential, our purpose of being here on earth in this life. It's an opportunity to bring out who we are, who we have been created to be, and who we choose to become. Do we choose to fulfill that potential or not? Do we choose to fulfill our potential of ahsan taqweem, of best of patterns, or not? Do we choose to live with surrender, with Islam and Iman and Ihsan, and appreciate the guidance and the light sent to us through the Quran, through the ayat in the creation that the Quran refers to? In this case, the adornment is our ayah. And then be grateful to our Rabb while having certainty of akhirah here and now? Or else, do we rather remain deluded, living in ghafla of the reality of life, the reality of this world, the reality of adornment, and either live totally in ghafla, or I was born in a Muslim family, I am Muslim, I'm going to worship God, and I don't care about the nature of adornment. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك وبحمدك عدد خلقك ورضاء نفسك وزنة عرشك ومداد كلماتك ونسبحك بجميع تسبيحات أنبيائك وأوليائك وملائكتك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. It would be nice if we could hear any comments or anything you would like to share, inshallah.
I'm gonna start.
Dr. Yamina?
Yes.
Oh yeah, assalamu alaikum everyone. Okay, I came in a little bit late, so I apologize if I'm asking a question that's already been asked, but I'm trying to wrap my head around equating the word bala with adornment. Like in my culture, we talk about balwa, as something, or bala as something very, very negative. But now, after hearing your talk about adornments and equating that with bala, am I like, am I getting this? I did.
Would someone want to answer?
Yeah. Also,
there is something. Bala is not equated with adornment. There are two separate words. They are related in the ayah, but they're two separate words. Anyone would like to?
But in Surah Al-Mulk, you know, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. I mean, I'm just trying to understand this word bala. Is it something that is positive in the Quran? Is just the culture kind of like twisted its meaning and made it something like that's really negative? You know, because in my Libyan culture, I always talk about belwa this, belwa that, as something that's really, it's a hardship. It's something that's horrible. So is the Quran perspective absolutely different? So is the word yabluwakum is not necessarily that God is like, you know, putting something really horrible on you. It's just that you're being tested as a way out of darkness, of the dhulumat, as the way out of the, you know, your heedlessness into light.
So Huda, can I
Sure.
Assalamu alaikum. So like one of the words that came as you were saying, like the word bala in our culture, because we use it like in the dialect balwa, also Egyptians have it. But also there's a word that we hear a lot, which is abla bala and hasanan. Have you heard this phrase? Fulan abla bala and hasanan. Like this.
No, I've never heard it used in that positive context. No.
Oh, so we have the word bala and hasanan. Abla, bala and hasanan. It's like a phrase. And like, you know, when you want to commend someone that they did a great job. So instead of saying, we don't have the word great job, amal kwayis, but they would say abla, bala and hasanan. So bala and hasanan, abla, bala and hasanan. It's all positive. Like the whole phrase, abla, he did bala and hasanan, a good bala. So the word bala, like in itself, is it's like, you know, it's he had an opportunity to do something, and in this opportunity he did bala hasan, like his outcome, like abla bala and hasanan. So it's like he took this opportunity and did of it, like brought it into, like did good with it, with this opportunity. And the other meaning that keeps coming back to me, and I'll check on it inshallah before next time, is like, you know, do we use the same phrase when we are like purifying metal? Do we use that phrase? Do we use bala? But let me check on that. But what I'm sure of is the phrase abla bala and hasanan. It's all positive here. The word bala in all of it is like this person was given an opportunity, and in it he did bala hasan, good bala.
What makes it positive is the hasan. Bala in itself is neutral, is what we do with it that makes it positive or negative for us. The outcome can be positive or negative. When we say jaza, for instance, in Turkish has a negative, is always negative, but we say jazakallahu khair. So that can be positive, can be negative. It depends what you did. So here bala is in itself, it's not positive or negative.
Yeah, no, in the Libyan culture is negative. Anything associated with bala is just is negative. So that's my understanding anyway.
We are looking at it here in the Quran, and as I don't know if you were in the beginning, as I was sharing an explanation, a short passage from a tafsir, it was taken as negative, and therefore adornment is taken as negative, and therefore it distracts us from worshiping God. And that's what I was looking at the ayah, and the adornment is God who adorned the earth. So, and God says, we are told that nothing is created in vain. So the adornment can't be created to distract us from worshiping God. That understanding is faulty. Something, it's self-contradictory, because, and it is based on taking for granted that we know God, we worship God, and there are things that take us away from God.
So is the word adornment neutral then, like bala? It depends in what context it's in?
I don't know what you mean by that. Adornment.
Well, you said bala.
With something, embellishment. So what makes embellishment? Embellishment can't be positive or negative. Again,
It can. You mean it can?
No, in itself it can't. What I do with it,
okay,
can be beneficial to me or detrimental to me. If I take it as an ayah from God that makes me grateful to God, that makes me know God with his beautiful names, then it is an ayah and it's fulfilling the purpose of his creation and bringing out my ubudiyah out, so everything is great. But if I forget about this, I don't care if it's created or not, I'm only interested in the outward form of the adornment, and starts being attached to it, loving it for itself, as if it itself is what gratifies me and benefits me, then I find myself in a shirki relationship, and I'll be doomed. Why? Because in this world, I wouldn't find true satisfaction for my heart, because it perishes at the end, as we are told in the ayah. And in Akhirah, I would have missed the true eternal source of everything as well.
So it's similar to the word bala then, because it depends on what I do with it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's very interesting. It's just like I have to rewire my brain around those words now. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments, questions?
I have a comment, and it was, Yamina, when you were reading sharing the ayah, and the ayah was, let's say, an ayah, one of those ayahs that every time I would read, I was like, it wouldn't make sense. It felt disconnected, and today it felt connected. So الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. So the first part, those who are always in remembrance of God, whether standing or sitting or on their sides, contemplating on the creation of heavens and earth. And then the ayah that you shared, ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا, indeed, you have not created this without purpose. And then the part that I always felt like disconnected, it's like, why is this, why is the second part of it, Subhanaka faqina adhab an-nar, O thee Lord, so protect us from hellfire. I was like, how could I be contemplating on on the beauty of heavens and earth? And why wouldn't I, instead of saying, you are the most beautiful creator, it would have made more sense to me that the end of the ayah would be, those who remember God standing and sitting and say, all this creation is not in vain. You are definitely the most beautiful creator. That would have made more sense to me. So always when I read this ayah, there was something that I felt disconnected, and I knew I'm not understanding something. So because that second part was oh subhanak faqina adhab an-nar, oh the Lord, please protect us, oh thee that is totally perfect, has no imperfection, please protect us from the from the torture of fire. And now it becomes clear, because as you're looking, as you are you're contemplating, people are contemplating on heavens and earth, are realizing that that all of this has a meaning, and they are worried about if they have given enough, enough gratitude, enough, if they've known God the way he wants to be known through them, if they have been grateful enough with it if they have given it its due, like, you know. And so that worry about did I know God the way I'm supposed to, was I thankful enough, that's what creates in them that, like, you know, that, oh my goodness, I hope I'm not, like, you know, I didn't have shortcomings that will take me to hellfire. So is that the right way of thinking about it, Yamina, or am I still disconnecting it?
I hope I mean, I don't forget most of the time, because when I forget, when I am not aware of this reality, when I forget, I am most likely to have a shirki perception of the world, as if things are happening on their own, as if things I'm benefiting from them. I forget about their connection with the truth source, with my Rabb. That's why whenever you say Subhana, it means I'm making tasbih, I am asking for forgiveness. But when I'm not making tasbih, I am most likely being in a shirki way of perceiving the world and thinking about it. That's why it makes sense that there is this prayer, please save us from the hell. The suffering of the hellfire is the suffering of it's, how would I the suffering of missing the paradise, where the paradise is where the names of God are manifesting everywhere. When I miss that, I find myself deprived of that mercy, of that beauty, of all those things that I need. That is hell, and that is suffering from hell, being deprived of all the beautiful names of God. That's why it makes sense, because the tasbih there is like the green light telling us what's going on.
Thank you. Jazakumullah khair. Are there any other comments or questions? Please go ahead, Hatice.
Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to share a comment about what attracted my attention. About wherever you look is the face of God. And within the context of our conversation today, it made more sense to me that wherever I look, I am either face to face with the transience of things, or the ornamental aspects of things, or things that which attract my attention. And in either case, they, in attracting my attention either through their adornments or through their transience, they remind me of, or they attract my attention to so that I may take heed of their source, or what is bringing them into existence, or what is bringing me into existence, or how I am existing at that moment, or even questioning my relationship with whatever it is that has attracted my attention. Yeah, I mean, it was just another layer of understanding to that topic that we discussed.
Yes, exactly that. And that the way you put it, now we can all take it, and it can be something to reflect on our daily life, in our relationship with things, right? because either they are being beautiful, or they are either we are attracted to an aspect of them, and we either witness, or we also we can remember before they leave, we can remember their transience and how it affects us. All that is speaking to us and reminding us of the connection, our connection and their connection, because the relationship between us, the interaction between me and whatever I am considering, is the ayah, the dynamic interaction is the ayah that reminds me of the source of our Rabb, our sustainer. And it's, yeah, thank you for putting it that way. It's something that can be taken as something practical to reflect on in our daily life, inshallah. It's very important, because it's not like, what is it to me that they are ayat? When we are not doing this kind of reflection, we find ourselves in a shirky way. And that's why those who are aware, as Alia was saying, those who remember God when they stand, when they sit, it means who remember God all the time, they are so much aware of this reality that they fear being in ghafla of this reality. And that's why they say, Subhanaka, they say, ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا, and then they say,
now also becomes, the more and more we talk about it,
so scary and it's so beautiful. And in contrast, you don't want the opposite is you will be living in shirk, and in shirk means there is no source of enduringness, neither in this life, nor if it's not in this life, there is no afterlife in that perception. It's so, the human heart and the human ruh is like terrified from this possibility.
It's so interesting, because it came to my mind today that, when we are starting to eat, we say, Allahumma barik lana fima razaqtana wa qina adhab an-nar. And exactly the way, thank you for the blessing. Bless this food for us and protect us from hellfire. And what's the connection? The connection is that if I don't see that this food is coming from eternal generosity and eternal power, then I'm in a loss, and that's fire.
I'm doomed.
Right? I mean, I'm enjoying it, but bottomless pit. It has no meaning. It has no endurance. It's perishing. No, I don't want to eat the food in this way. I want to eat the food as you were describing, as
spoils even that transient, temporary pleasure is spoiled with that understand once we become aware of that.
And also can be more than that. It can be like the fear of, would I ever have food again? Or would I be able to digest again? Would I be, like, all these fears that like are natural to us without an eternal source that is caring for us here and now, and to trust in it, then I will be living like then like my understanding of hellfire was later on.
Anxiety and fear.
Yeah. But now I realize hellfire is all these anxieties and fears. That is hellfire. Like, it's not, hellfire won't start later on. It is what I go through now with all those
anxiety without any hope. Can you imagine?
So it's almost a way of saying, as I start to eat this food, I want to start eating in God's name. I don't want to eat a hellish meal, meaning a meal filled with all these anxieties and fears at the background because of being disconnected from the giver.
Yes. One of the meanings is that. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khair. Are there any other comments, questions at this time? Okay, so if not, we are going to pause here. We will continue the conversation, and please feel free to bring your reflections during this week when we meet again next week, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair, Dr. Yamina and Mr. Alia, and everyone else who joined the conversation today. And may we live in awareness, inshallah, till we meet again. And these are the last couple of days, as usual. I want to share that these are the last couple of days for the early registration for the retreat. As you may have seen on Facebook, we have a nicer flyer. But please do spread the word with whom you feel will be interested in this retreat, and please join us this December, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.